Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody. Coast to Coast, This Week in America. Conrad Garfield Duncan's new book, Burning the Flags of Extremism, offers a compelling blend of personal stories and truths aimed at fostering peace and love in a world rife with conflict. Drawing from his rich experience as an educator and his deep spiritual beliefs, Conrad presents a transformative narrative that challenges readers to rethink their worldviews. Conrad says this book was written under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, and God has anointed him to share his love with the American people, who for too long have been lied to and taken advantage of by false teachers who were not ordained by the Holy Spirit to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. Burning the Flags of Extremism, being called a manifesto for change, a beacon of hope, and a testament to the power of love to alter the course of history. And author Conrad Garfield Duncan is our guest on This Week in America. Conrad, welcome to the program. A pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I've been looking forward to this conversation, an important one, as I mentioned in the beginning, receiving rave reviews. The book is titled Burning the Flags of Extremism. Let's start with your background. Who were you before you wrote this book? I mentioned your rich experiences. Talk about the background that led you to write this book.
Well, I'm a security professional by trade. I have been on several important details being a security officer. When Mercedes-Benz opened in Atlanta, I was one of the guys chosen to protect the governor and the mayor at the same time. At one time, I actually found a gun and a person who entered a federal building in Atlanta. And I was the officer that could reach him fast enough to take the gun off him. And so I've done that for several years. And I'm also an educator. I've worked in the Atlanta Sheriff's Department, worked in the courthouse, protected the sheriff and his property. And I've been doing this for a number of years. But most of my life, I spent being a mathematics and science teacher. I taught for 16 years in Jamaica for Cambridge University. And in the United States of America, I've taught in places like Texas, Georgia, and now I'm actually teaching public school in California.
It's just an amazing and impressive background. Go ahead and finish up. I just needed to say how impressive that was, the varied background that you have in studying people, dealing with people, teaching people, understanding people. Finish a little bit more about your background.
Yes. Well, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. I was born in the church. My father was born in the Seventh-day Adventist church. I got baptized in 1978. I was only 8 years of age, and Little Richard was our singing evangelist. You know, it is so rare to have a legend being a singing evangelist at your baptism. But that's what happened when a great preacher from California came to Jamaica to baptize hundreds of people. And I was only 8, and I responded to the call. And I'm still here so many years later. I want to say that I really love the Lord. I love the Lord. I love his words, his precepts. My entire life is built around the second coming of Jesus Christ. And this is a call, a clarion call to the American people. Prepare, because Jesus is at our doors. His coming is real, it is sure, and it is soon to take place.
The book is entitled Burning the Flags of Extremism. The author, Conrad Garfield Duncan, our guest on the program. What does the title mean? What is the significance of Burning the Flags of Extremism?
Now, flags are used traditionally to mark territories. People are going around marking territories. And I'm not talking geographical territories. I'm talking about souls. People are going around winning souls using different philosophies and arguments. People are spreading hate all over the world. And so what we are trying to do here is to take back all those souls from all those haters and extremists. Colossians 1 verse 16 to 17, it says, all things were created through him and for him. Everything on this planet belongs to God. Everything and everyone, all of us. And so we need to burn the flags of extremism, evil ideologies that spread hate and cause menace around the world. We need to take back the territories of the living God. And so this book is, an inspiration to those who are in the fight for the soul of the American people, the fight of the soul of the world that we live in, this planet that we live in. We are at a point where things cannot be any worse than they are. We see what's happening in the Ukraine, all that killing, the bloodlet.
Yes.
Okay, and all of that. And we are saying, let's take back this planet for Jesus Christ.
That is one of the messages in the book Burning the Flags of Extremism by Conrad Garfield Duncan, been called the Apostle to the American People. The book is available wherever books are sold. Also, Conrad's website, and we have this on our website, a direct link is the Ghostwriter4, the number 4.com. Information on Conrad, the book. You can order the book there as well. Tell me the main idea, the theme of the book. You touched on that, but it is so important and it is life-saving for so many people. What is the main message in your book?
Love over hate. Luke 9, verse 49 to 55 is a very compelling story. The question is, what does Jesus say about extremism? Now, it was an occasion when the disciples decided to stop a man who was not of their group. He was preaching the gospel and he was casting out demons. And they came to Jesus and they said, Master, we stopped him. Jesus said, no, do not stop him, because who is not your enemy is your ally. The one that's not your enemy, he is your ally. Now, it was an occasion when Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem and the Samaritans did not receive him. James and John approached Jesus and said, Master, should we cause lightning and fire to come down from heaven to burn them up? Jesus said, no, this is not how we do business. You do not know what spirit you belong to. And that's a message to all extremists. You do not know what spirit you belong to. Many people who have these hateful ideologies believe that they are in the right and they are doing the work, especially religious extremists. They believe that they are doing a good job. No, I want you to know that religious extremists are on both sides of the aisle. Some of them are Christians. Others are of different faiths. Now, I can reflect on 9/11. What pushes these guys to do what they did, to cause so much destruction? I reflect also on Timothy McVeigh. Now, I understand why he was so angry, because of what happened to the Branch Davidians. But who pushed him to do what he did, to respond in such a way, killing, taking so many innocent lives? I wish someone was there to tell him, you do not know what spirit you belong to. Extremism pushes you to respond in a negative manner. Some extremists believe that they are doing the right thing when they respond negatively. But Jesus is saying, yes, earth has been done, but this is not the response that I would want you to do. I would want you to forgive, step on. And what Jesus did, he didn't bother about the Samaritans. He didn't cause lightning to come down to strike them. He went on to his mission in Jerusalem. And that's what many people who do hateful things, it's not that they are evil. It's not that they are so wicked. It's just that they are misguided.
Yes.
And so that's what I want to bring back in this book. The main idea that runs through this book is that we need to call men and women back to Jesus, calling them back to righteousness.
You do that in a powerful way. The book is Burning the Flags of Extremism by Conrad Garfield Duncan, our guest on the program. His website is theghostwriter4.com. Book available wherever books are sold and links on our website. What would you say is the main goal of the book? I mentioned you talked about the messages. I said a very powerful message, very well delivered. What do you hope the takeaway is, the main goal of the book? When people finish reading Burning the Flags of Extremism, what do you hope the response is?
To create an awareness that extremism could be born of good intentions. And that's a point. Remember Saul before he became the Apostle Paul. When he stoned Stephen to death, he thought that he was doing the right thing. He was ridding the world of idolaters. He was taking back the name of Jesus. He was protecting the kingdom of heaven. And so he went around killing people, until the day when Jesus met him face to face. He understood that all that he had believed before was wrong. So people who do these heinous acts, sometimes they believe, oh, I'm in the right. And a man who believes that he is in the right will take mountains and throw them into the sea, because he believes that the right is on his side. And then I talk about misguided people. And so Jesus had to meet Saul at first, and then he became the Apostle Paul. And he took the gospel to the ends of the world. He is my favorite apostle. Okay? His writings are still so powerful today. A misguided man that was turned around and shown the right way. And so this is my message to all these people who believe in extremism. You do not know what spirit you belong to.
You bring up so many important points, and boy, the time is going by so quickly. I encourage you to pick up a copy of Burning the Flags of Extremism. You'll find the book at GothamBooksInc.com, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Conrad's website is theghostwriter4.com. Can't remember all that? Just go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Hit the link that will take you directly to Conrad's website. With the background you have in education, the background you have in dealing with different people, different cultures, the background in security, what prompted you to write this book? Where did you get the idea? Why did you decide now is the time I need to write this book?
Well, this book was written in 2010. Actually, when it was written during a time of great disturbance and chaos. Now, it was a meltdown. We went through a meltdown. And so what happened is that I got the idea from my ex-wife. Now, the Christmas before 2010, a little man traveling from Africa, called Farouk. He was traveling from Amsterdam to land on a jet in Chicago. My ex-wife is from Chicago. And so before landing, he tried to detonate okay, an incendiary device while on board the jet. Luckily, he didn't know much about what he was doing. And so he was caught and he was arrested. And that jet landed safely in Chicago. And so she was saying, why don't you write about that? You know, we started to discuss the issue, you know, of why is it that these people hate so much? Why do they do what they do? Why do they want to destroy innocent lives? And so she said, write a book about it. And so I decided to write this book.
The book is so powerful, so well written. The book is Burning the Flags of Extremism by Conrad Garfield Duncan, been called the apostle to the American people. A very important message he has. His website is theghostwriter4.com. Time going by too quickly. There's several issues I want to talk about that are so important to what you have done in delivering this book. How does the book challenge or reinforce maybe common beliefs and assumptions?
Well,
and it does that. This book is so well written and will touch you in so many ways. And once you start reading, it's a book that you really can't put down. You want to find out what words of wisdom that you will find in the book written by Conrad. So I'll go back. I just wanted to interject that, go back to the question. How does it challenge or maybe reinforce people's beliefs and assumptions?
Okay, so John 10 verse 16. Okay, when Jesus said, I have other sheep that are not of this fold. Okay, now let's talk about a belief and an assumption. There are many people out there who believe that the Quran, okay, written by Muslim philosophers, are to be labeled as the satanic verses. No, that's an old assumption. But sometimes, you know, like what Jesus said, I have other sheep that are not of this fold. Are you sure about what you are saying? Do you know anything about the background? Do you know the reason why this particular manuscript was written? Do you know the purpose? Do you realize that the Prophet Muhammad was actually ordained and called by God at a specific time in history? This is of great historical significance. Why did this happen? You must understand that nothing happens on earth without the permission of the Almighty. This person was called at a specific time in history in order to burn out idolatry out of the hearts of men, especially people living in the Middle East. You see, what happened is that the gospel went through the world, but the great church in Rome failed to convert the Middle East. Someone had to be called in order to change what was happening at the time. People were worshiping idols all over Palestine and its environments. And this guy, a Messianic Jew, was called in order to begin a movement in order to stop people from worshiping idols. And that's the theological significance of Islam itself. And Islam, of course, has its own problems. I believed in many ways that the doctrine has been skewed, okay, to suit certain people for certain selfish reasons. But do not levy insult on something that you do not understand, because this also is the work of the Most High God. His powers are supreme. And everything about him is a mystery, because human beings, we are sinful human beings. We are not ordained to judge anyone at any time. And so we must be careful how we treat people. And this notion that all these people are wicked people. And I'm saying that these people, like us as Christians, they have extremists among them. People who will push the button to the limit.
Yes.
And kill innocent people. And don't you believe that all Muslims are terrorists? Because that's a wrong labeling for a group of people who have been living a beautiful life and have been serving God and praying. One of my best friends in Los Angeles is a Muslim. And when things don't go my way, I say, brother, pray for me. And immediately he grabs his carpet and he offers a word, because I believe that God is supreme, and God works through even the heart of these beautiful people around the world. Never you open your mouth to say bad things about people who you do not understand. The vast majority of Islam is good people. And let me say by extension, a lot of people who, even the ones who are extremists in America, are also good people. The man who said they are good people on both sides, he is not wrong, but people are misguided. They believe that they are doing the right thing when they are not, because the Spirit says, you do not know what spirit you belong to. And for Christians all around the world, Christians in America, United States of America, I particularly have a strong love for American Christians, because I believe that they are some of the most genuine. I remember America, is probably the kindest country in the world. I've never seen any economy so kind. I mean, so much love. There's just so much love. So much love that goes around. When I was a little boy, I remember many years, I grew up in Jamaica, and there was a choir that used to come to Jamaica to offer candy. And I remember those days. They were Christians. And so, as a Christian myself, I want to call us back to true worship, to true religion.
Yes.
The coming of Jesus is very near. And we need to be prepared.
You will
for
be if
this
you
event in history.
And you bring it
Yes.
you bring it to life so well. I love listening to you talk and explain the book, and you can get a copy of the book and find out exactly what Conrad is saying in greater detail in the book, Burning the Flags of Extremism. Conrad Garfield Duncan, our guest on the program. A couple minutes left in the program. It's gone by so quickly. How does the book contribute to our understanding of a particular discipline, a genre, or a tradition?
Well, in this book, I highlighted the Rastafarian faith. Now, let me give you a background about Rastafarianism, because in the 1960s, I think it was maybe 62, the Emperor Haile Selassie came to Jamaica. He visited Jamaica, and it was a lot of chaos at the airport. My mother was at the airport, not for the Rastas, but to meet the Emperor. And she said that they bomb rushed the jet, and he ran back into the jet. And so the Rastafarian faith comes from the need at that time in history for Black people to identify with something more than just a former slave. They wanted to identify with someone powerful. They say that he's a descendant of King Solomon, and so he has Jewish roots. And so people worship him as a god, and a lot of Rastafarians do. But the Rastafarian culture has been very strong in Jamaica for many years. I know that some of the positive happenings, especially the way in which it impacts the youth on the streets of Jamaica, is to push them in order to live cleaner. Okay, I do not, conform to this idea of smoking. I do not smoke or drink. Okay, but that's the only bad part of Rastafarianism. I like the fact that they do not put salt in their food. Okay, I like the fact that they like vegetarianism. There are certain things that traditional Rastas do not do. They try to live very pure, and they try to live by Bible precepts. Many people do not understand Rastafarianism. They see these dreadlocks and they believe that they are criminals, and they are drug dealers, and they sell marijuana all over the world. But there are a lot of positives in that Rastafarian faith. Growing up, my mother never liked them. In fact, the first day I heard about Bob Marley, Robert Nesta Marley, I went to his funeral by error because he died and they were preparing the body at a church on the street that I lived on. So I woke up and I saw millions of people, all kinds of people. I went out, I was like, what's happening? They say that the Rastaman died. I said, which Rastaman? The one that sings on TV. I said, what's his name? They said that his name is Bob Marley. No, at home I was not allowed in the 1970s to listen to reggae music. My mama would kill me if she saw me listening to reggae music, because a lot of Jamaicans have this thing that they don't trust Rastafari, the Rastafari faith. Today, people are a little bit more liberal. Okay, so we are coming, Rastafari, the faith is coming a long way. A lot of people don't know much about it. I remember that Rastafarianism in Jamaica, well, they started out very homophobic, which is very bad because Jamaica is a very homophobic society. Even as a child, I used to believe in it. But today, I'm a little bit more liberal because I believe that, not that I believe in homosexuality, but I believe in a man's choice, the man's right, in order to live whatever life he wants to live. And I want to underscore that because as an Adventist growing up in Jamaica, I believe the Seventh-day Adventist Church was not prepared for the 21st century. The Seventh-day Adventist Church was not prepared. I sincerely believe they were not prepared to deal with homosexuality inside the church. And so they try to cast it off like it doesn't exist. But I believe that the church as a whole needs to deal with this issue because there are members among us who are. And so what do? Do we cast them out? Okay, or do we invite them in and chat with them, welcome them, embrace them? And so I'm a different person than I used to be back in the days when I lived in Jamaica. Because I grew up, with a mother who was very religious. She was a beautiful woman, but some of the things that we used to believe in, the doctrine is changing. A lot is happening. It's a different time. It's the 21st century. And so it doesn't mean that we are to dig deeper into sin. But our purpose is to bring the world out of sin.
And you do that so remarkably in the book, Burning the Flags of Extremism. Our guest is Conrad Garfield Duncan. I'll give you his website in a second. Just to finish up, what are you working on now? So many people say, boy, I hope he does a continuation of this. Are you thinking about that?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Well, that would be good. And you get all the information on Conrad, and if a continuation of Burning the Flags of Extremism will be coming out. His website is very simple, theghostwriter4.com. The book is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the usual places. I thank Gotham Books Incorporated for arranging our conversation on today's program with Conrad. And all this information on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Conrad, the time has gone by way too quickly. Hopefully we can pick up the conversation and do this again. Thank you for joining us on the program. A fascinating conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It has been our pleasure. Conrad Garfield Duncan is the author of the book, Burning the Flags of Extremism. The book's available wherever books are sold. His website, ghostwriter4.com. the number 4, and you can like on by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back on today's program right after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, associate producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, segment producer. Ben Watson, webmaster. Otto Bechet, director of engineering and TV production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, executive producer of This Week in America.